Yep. Submit all. Hey, everyone. I want to welcome you to our roundtable discussion, State of the Solar Industry. And we're very appreciative for everyone that has signed up. We're excited to introduce you to industry leaders. Some you know, some you may not. And we're all about collaboration here and helping solidify each of us in the solar industry as we ride this solar coaster. Just want to tell you, we appreciate your business. We appreciate the friendships and relationships. And we're excited to hear your insights and your opinions on where the industry is going for this year, 2025. And we're going to start out with introducing Scott Whistling, who is going to be our MC with his beautiful shirt he's got on there. You know, add a little bit of pizzazz to this call. You never guess an engineer would be wearing a shirt like this, right? Scott's a unique character in the solar industry, and is definitely, I say, he's a people collector.
I'm feeling a little festive today, Ben. I'm feeling a little festive today, so I figured I'd wear my party shirt.
Well, you're definitely looking festive, my friend.
Well, thank you, Ben, for that introduction. I appreciate everybody being on our call. I also want to make sure that we recognize really what makes Whistling Consulting what it is the other people on this call. We've got Catherine Kelso, who just passed the PE exam, from what I understand, right? She heads up our commercial engineering department, design and engineering department. So we welcome her. And Greg Elvestad, the myth, the legend, who has been with us for, what is it going on, 3 years now, Greg?
Yes, sir.
And Greg and I worked together, previous companies, and he's been in the industry for over 30 years now, right? 35 years or so, Greg?
Power delivery, 40 years in the business, 10 of it with solar and 30 of it with power companies.
And he's only 25 years old, too.
Well, that's the current state of things. You got to come into an entry-level job with 20 years experience.
There you go. There you go. Everybody knows Greg. He's been in the industry for years and well respected in the field of electrical engineering. And then Heath Harpster, who has structural backgrounds, been with us for about the same amount of time, maybe 3 years, right, Heath?
Yep, about 3 years.
Yep, and he's he's been doing a great job and provides so much resources for our company. And then obviously Ben, who kicked us off, who, as most of you may have known, that Ben actually owned Current Insight, which was a design company back in the day that was purchased from Complete Solar and then became Complete Solaria. And he joined our team about 1.5 years or so ago. And it's been great. Ben and I have worked together for 5 or 6 years, right, Ben?
Absolutely, yep.
He hired us to do all of their engineering, and who knew that we would end up working together again. It's been great. So I got to tell you guys, I'm a little intimidated. We've got over 50 people who registered for this webinar, and I hope it's all because of everybody else on this webinar, because I hope you didn't all come just to hear me talk, because I don't think it's going to be very profound, because I don't consider myself being somebody who is profound. But in any event, it's great to see all of you guys' attendance on this meeting. It has been great in the solar industry. We call it the solar coaster. I think that's a pretty common term now for the solar industry. Back in the heyday of 2022, where you couldn't throw enough solar on roofs, and now I think we're all kind of in a little bit of a situation where we're struggling a little bit to find out where this industry is going to wind up settling out, right? And at least I am, and maybe you guys all have it figured out, right? But I can tell you that there is a lot of things that we need to be aware of as we move forward, and be cautious moving forward as well. So anyway, I figured this would be a great opportunity. I don't have anything formally prepared. I have some things that I'm going to talk about. I've asked, Catherine and Ben and Heath to talk about some things. But really what I want to do is just hear from you guys, right? The state of the solar industry, is consistently in flux, right? And there's so many changes that have gone on over the past couple of years that it's just so important to be able to get together like we're doing right now and just hear from each other and help each other to learn and to grow as businesses, right? So anyway, just to kick it off, I guess I guess some of the topics that I was thinking about as we move into where we are now is I've seen the industry turn to an industry where there's a lot of consolidation, right? And hopefully you guys, by the way, I do want you guys to interrupt me as much as you can, as much as you want to. Just raise your hand and we'll open up your mic and your camera if you prefer. And I'd love to hear from you, right? If you disagree with what I'm saying, I'd love to hear from you as well, too. Or I might turn your mic off. It depends on how much you disagree with me. But in any event, I think it would be great for everybody to participate here today. But as I was saying, there's so many consolidations going on right now, and you've seen a lot of big players in the industry just, go out of business, right? Like the Infinities of the world, the Titans of the world. These are big companies, and you know what? The reason why I think is we need to be more efficient at what we do. We need to be more organized at what we do. And we have to be more cautious as we move forward from an expense standpoint. And you'll see that a lot of these bigger companies that are dropping like flies are really companies that maybe were not as cautious as we probably need to be moving forward. And the other thing I see from consolidations is companies where we're merging together. A lot of partnerships going on. I'm focusing on that. We've worked with a lot of larger manufacturers. A lot of you are on this call now, and we're providing engineering services for a lot of people who provide supplies and manufacturers of products in the industry. Like we're working for Enphase, we're working for Aurora, we're working for Green Tech, right? Who are big players in the industry that are now looking to consolidate and make partnerships. And that's what's going to strengthen us as we move forward. At least that's what I think is going to strengthen us as we move forward. I'm just giving you ideas. I can't tell you that this is the gospel according to Scott Whistling or gospel according to Ben Peterson or Greg Elvestad. This is just ideas that I've been thinking about that I thought would be good to just frankly get everybody else's opinions. And I would love to be able to do that, right? So so let's see what you guys think on what this topic that we just talked about on consolidation and working with other potential customer base and partners in the industry. And Brian, it looks like Brian Rollins, which it's great to see you on the call, Brian. Thank you for joining. And I hope you're doing well in the industry. I'm not sure where you've landed at this point, but the other thing too, guys, is I want you to give you guys a shout out. Tell us what you do in the industry. Tell us a little bit about your business. And if there's someone can help you in what you do or interested in what you do, by all means, drop your contact information in the chat. Just any engineers on the call, I'd rather you don't do that, please. I appreciate that. But any event, Brian, go ahead. Got to turn your mic on. Am I doing that, Ben, or are you doing that?
His mic's unmuted. He just has to unmute himself. It's allowed now.
Okay, so you just need to unmute yourself, Brian.
Okay. There we go. Okay, just popped on when I typed it. Scott, hey, dude, so good to see you, man. If anybody doesn't know Scott, Ben nailed it. He's an engineer with a personality.
Don't tell anybody, though, okay?
Those are rare in this industry, trust me.
He's great. Me and Scott climbed to an attic one time, and for someone trying to blame us for something that didn't happen. It was a good time.
That doesn't happen ever, right, Brian?
That's right. But anyways, Scott, answer real quick. Been around solar, I don't know, 15, maybe a little bit more years. I actually went to a company that does Tesla roofs, and so the engineering on that is like zero because it's less than roof shingles, so they don't care about that. Right. Did that for, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, and honestly got sick of operations. So I do something else now. I could give a plug. I don't know if you want me to. I'd rather comment on what you said.
Either way, you're fine if you want to give a plug. Yeah. Tell us about
Cool.
your company.
I'll give a 10-second plug. So I noticed that as I talk, this leads into your partnerships. I noticed that as I talk to other solar companies and just ask my friends around in the business about, consolidation and just what they're implementing to make their companies better, help customer service, things like that. Customer service is trash. And so I actually started, and it has been for like 10 years. And so I actually started, I use AI to implement into solar businesses specifically at this point to help customer service. So if anybody's looking for a better customer service or knows how to do that, or wants to promote their customer service ability in the industry, that's what I do now. So
What's the name of the company, Brian?
AID Media, AID Media.
AID Media. Okay.
Yes, sir. So I'm about 3 months into that, and it's going really well. Actually, we have a few really good clients now, so it's pretty cool. But as far as
I totally agree on the customer service end, and that we've seen, one of the things that really does make us successful is I'd like to think that we are very firm and believe wholeheartedly that the customer experience is more valuable than anything else that we can provide. Communication is super valuable. But
yeah.
So I agree with you 100%, Brian.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I'd love to spend 10 minutes asking you a few more questions on that front. I don't really want to do it in front of 50 people, but yeah, send me an email or something, Scott. That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. Drop your email into the chat so we have it. Okay, Brian.
As far as partnerships go, though, what I've noticed when I was doing the Tesla situation and I was trying to gather racking and inverter, and we use Tesla a lot, but of course this gets around the industry, and especially when I talk to people now, the partnerships are real. And I've seen the consolidation ever since about 2021. People started buying people. And what I noticed is people thought that it was really important to consolidate operations, which is sort of true. But really, it's the sales team's consolidation and the sales being particular with their money is what's really helped lower the cost per watt. Operations is at a decent, I should say, point. As far as Scott, like you said, when you partner with the Enphase and stuff like that, brilliant, right? It streamlines everything, and operationally, getting a permit, like a sale to permit, is on point. Like it's good, especially if you especially if you run through Scott. Like Scott's good. He knows what he's doing. He's got a good thing there. And you can get your stuff back in a matter of hours sometimes, usually just a day or two. But consolidating the field, honestly, is what I see. And partnering with the field and partnering with electricians, that's where the next partnerships need to go, is getting the field proper. Anyways, that's my thought. But
no, yeah, it's a great point, Brian, and it's an interesting perspective because you've been involved in operations for your entire career, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I think you've dealt pretty closely with sales as well too, so it's good insight. Yes. I appreciate that.
But,
well, any other comments? I think Christian, you've got your hand up. Or Christina, I'm sorry, Hutchins. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at. See if I can unmute you.
He's unmuted.
I don't see you being unmuted. It's saying she's muted on my side.
Oh,
Yeah, she was given the ability to unmute.
Yeah, she has to unmute herself. Yeah.
Christine, are you able to unmute yourself?
So I'm looking at her. So disable, and then I'll re-enable.
Okay. Yeah, I see you're unmuted now. Hi, Christina. How are you? Oh no, now you're muted again. You were unmuted for a minute. Now you're muted again. Okay, now you're unmuted. Go ahead. We can hear you, I think. No, we can't hear you, Christina.
There's something on her side, Scott.
Okay, let's come back to you, Christine. Is there anybody else who wanted to comment on Brian and how he talked about the consolidation as well as in the industry? Any other comments there? Okay. Blake from Green Tech.
Yeah, I'm here, Scott.
How are you, Blake? So let me give Blake a plug because he's one of our customers. works at Green Tech, one of actually the largest supplier of material, I think, in the nation. And they have been doing great at what they do. And actually, this is a great topic. And Blake, maybe you can touch on this a little bit, but they do provide design and engineering for their customers. And they do that by design because it's a service that they can provide that helps their customers to do that. So consolidation and moving in the market is something that they've really mastered in my mind. So, but Blake, thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to talk through. Yeah, I mean, I doing what I do, I have great visibility into a lot of companies across the country. And, like you mentioned, there's been a lot of, consolidation of companies. There's been companies that have just gone and others have absorbed their portfolios and such. And, it's interesting to see. A pretty common trait are, the ones that have done things from the get-go the right way, meaning, done their homework, followed the right path, not trying to cut corners, are the ones that are still thriving. And I think that's really kind of, telling that we are getting to a point where, there's a little bit of a pullback in where people who are knowledgeable are still going forward. And and I think that's a big thing to kind of state that, if you're still installing today, then you're doing something right. And it's important to kind of stay on that path and keep pushing forward. We try to help. My company, Green Tech, has try to help by offering a lot of services, not just obviously design and engineering, but financing, and then obviously the distribution being the massive part that we do. But there's a lot that I think that people need to recognize that the best way to keep going forward is providing that customer service that Brian was mentioning, and then as well as doing things to make sure that the installations are here to stay and there's not going to be problems down the road.
Yeah, I got to say,
Yeah.
just communication with Blake. I love Green Tech as a major company, but my experience with them is it's like working with a family company with Blake and Richard Smith, and Green Tech has been such a delight. Their communication is second to none. So those are the people that we've really enjoyed working with, that, like Blake said, about quality and communication. I think that's really what's helped keep me even whistling in business too. We've seen some reduction, but a lot of it is that piece of quality and communication. So we appreciate you, Blake.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a two-way street. I appreciate all the times that you guys have jumped in too. It's important, and as you're talking about making partnerships, that's it's why we work with you guys. It's important.
And customer service, right? I mean, if you're not servicing your customer base, and if we're not servicing our customer base, they're just not going to use us. And I don't blame them. If you're not able to produce and provide that customer service, just move on to somebody who is, because it's a competitive market and there's people out there who are going to do the right thing, right?
Right.
We've been reading a book. We read a book as a company. I'm big on like our management team reading material to make us better managers at what we do, right? And I'm also big on reading, with my company and my employees, books that help us to understand change in the industry, right? And you guys, very simple book. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? It's got these 4 characters. There's 2 that are mice and 2 that are little people, right? Some of you are probably read it. I think most everybody has come into contact with that book. But this is a perfect example of who moved my cheese, right? The industry is changing. And if we're not on the forefront of accepting the change and moving in the direction that we need to move, we're going to be left behind, right? And that's a lot of where, Blake mentioned, if you're still installing, you're doing something right? Because you're moving with the cheese and you're doing things right, and you're still looking for opportunities that you can be better at what you do, right? Anyway, that's my 2 cents there. Thank you, Blake. And it looks like, Christina, your mic is working now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
Well, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell us about yourself a little bit, or about your company. Give yourself a little plug.
Yeah, I'm with Mark Kamen and Associates, or said succinctly MKA, out of Houston, Texas. We are a transformational management coaching consulting firm. We have a lot of clients in the solar industry, and several different facets, as well as all different kinds of industries, and have been working with the human side, the human component of business performance and competitive advantage for 40 some years.
Nice.
And what we're seeing with everything everything everyone said is fantastic. And what we found is spot on with our clients in the solar industry and many other industries. What has had companies, let's say, weather the storm and develop their strongest competitive advantage is to support their people taking themselves on and recognize that whatever has gotten you from a leadership, management, as well as your employee standpoint, whatever has gotten you to the level of success and where you're at, I'm going to say this with poor English, ain't necessarily going to get you to where you need to go.
Yeah, and that's again ties into who moved your cheese, right? You can't you can't stay for the stale cheese. You got to look for the new cheese, right? That's a good point.
And with the point you guys were just talking about, with one in this very dynamic and uncertain environment, I'm going to get a little nerdy here, from a purely neuroscience standpoint, the way our brains work as humans in this world of going out and producing results, which that's the world we're in, right? In business, that's what we're out to get done.
Agreed.
The only information, the only data input our brain has is the past. So it's kind of like we're trying to drive forward into this new future, uncertain future, and our hands are on the rear view mirror, thinking we're steering towards where we want to get. And so I love the books. I love everything you said. Also providing people with a way to, and coach, whether it's internal or you bring in external people or however you do it, the access to getting the past and the ways it's always been done, like to a place where it informs you. You can reference it, but it's not driving how you're going to necessarily keep doing things, or it's not restricting your thinking, listening, speaking view of the future in a way that limits and constrains what you can create and what's possible. You want to get people's hands securely back on the steering wheel, right? Not the rear view mirror, being able to set down, especially in the world of mergers, especially in the world of takeover or people jumping from company to company. Use the information, but get them especially as leaders and managers, creating a future, an empowering future and vision that they're living into, where they can find their own authentic self-expression, not because it's necessarily exactly the same, and contribute. That's where you get people living and performing for you with their, let's say, highest level of vitality and self-expression, and people perform in that way at a level that no amount of money could buy. You couldn't pay it out of them. And that's where your people really become your biggest competitive advantage. You get the highest quality customer service, as you were saying. And when your people experience that, there's no, what do I want to say here?
Yeah.
There's no not coming out in the way that they are with your customers.
Yeah. And that's why we're so good in the industry, because I have the best employees in the industry, and they provide the best customer service to our customers. Like I said, it's nothing that I do.
Good for you.
But thank Christine. I appreciate that. Great insight. There's a couple people that I actually reached out to just to see that they were willing to kind of hop in, and I kind of want to give some of them an opportunity to chat as well. So, one of them is Glenn Woodruff from Iron Ridge. We have been collaborating with Iron Ridge for a while, Glenn, are you on the call? And did you want to maybe chime in a little bit here on your thoughts in what we're talking about, or maybe how you feel the industry had headed from Iron Ridge perspective?
Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Glenn.
I'm a product marketing manager here at Iron Ridge. Been with them for about 8 years. And I think what we see is like you've seen a contraction in like the larger players, as you talked about at the beginning, Scott, but we call it the long tail. But the local contractors that are running healthy businesses that are utilizing their partnerships with like Green Tech and Whistling, they are still healthy and they're doing good business. So I think, that local presence, that local communication with the homeowner is powerful, and that is encouraging from what I see. Right. So.
No, thank you, Glenn. Appreciate that. Yeah, and actually it looks like, actually, if I wanted to see also if, let's see, who else did we want to ask here?
Luke Harden with Chint Power Systems.
Yeah, Luke, are you on the call with Chint Power Systems? If you could maybe let us know your thoughts as well.
Yeah, cool, guys. Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
can hear you fine.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Luke from CPS. I'm based out of New York City. We actually just got a new office in Financial District. But to comment on two things that really stood out to me. Number one, definitely the customer service aspect. Here at CPS, it's definitely something we hold as one of our core values. Our hotline is definitely, packed with engineers, from all the way from installation, Flex OM monitoring. It's definitely, something that we value, and it has definitely added to our success. As well, the other point, doing it right the first time. I think we've always kind of stayed true to a string design. We have always stayed true to that. Where other companies or, some of our competitors have gone with maybe central and then string as well, and maybe some other inverters as well, going into different areas. But staying with that same string, and now we're into energy storage as well, moving that same concept over to energy storage. Keeping with that same idea is so true. And it has definitely helped us out, now coming into energy storage as well. So yeah.
I had a quick
Yeah,
question
you're
for
moving
you.
into a market. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to set a question as, Chint's on the commercial side, some of the larger utility. We've seen a big jump in interest and work from the commercial side. How is, the market affected? Do you see a lot more residential EPCs migrating to, to commercial?
Yes, totally. Yeah, more and more projects, the companies getting larger, and we like to see those residential companies get into commercial, and we can definitely support even the smaller companies that just need, maybe 225 kilowatts. And on top of that, we're actually getting into single phase as well, for smaller systems. So we've always been 3-phase, now can support some of those smaller commercial systems a lot, for this specific case, where a company might just specifically do residential, but now moving up to those larger churches that are single phase, or farming equipment. So yes, we definitely see those companies growing into that market.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, that's a great input. I appreciate that.
I would just like to echo that.
Go ahead,
we really
Glenn.
see that growth in that commercial space happening, and those contractors that maybe have been historically residential contractors, really starting to approach that space and trying to understand how to sell into it. So I want to echo his comments.
Yeah, and we've seen, we're trying to capitalize on the fact that we're seeing a move or shift into commercial. I think as we experience the the turmoil, I don't know if that's a good term or not, in financing and interest rates, that has kind of slowed some of the residential markets moving, we've seen more of a switch over to commercial. And I don't know if you guys have seen that. I know, Heath, you were going to identify a couple things that you've been seeing as far as the market and maybe some thoughts on your end.
Yeah, I was just going to give the insight of an engineer who is working internally and doesn't really see everything that's going on outside. So this might be more of what is happening internally with Whistling, but we have seen a drop off in residential and a big increase on the commercial front, whether it's just solar on commercial projects or doing EV chargers, equipment mounts and slabs and stuff of that nature. So just seeing if anyone had insight on that and if that is what is going on in the industry as a whole, just based on, financial or programs being cut or changes in law and stuff like that.
Yeah, thanks, Heath. Actually, there is someone I want to introduce. One of our customers just barely signed up with us. You guys may know him. He's been around for a bit. His name is Jason Buck. He used to play. He's a ex-NFL football player. He's on our call, and he's the owner or one of the owners of BC Site Solutions, and they are a fairly large commercial customer, do commercial designs. Jason, are you there? I don't know. I saw you hop on. I don't know if you're still on now. Maybe he's not on.
His mic is activated. You just have to unmute yourself, my friend. What I loved about Jason is just some of his ideas and collaborations with Chick-fil-A's and McDonald's, and kind of his approach to, with all these rolling brownouts, how can we be more self-sufficient? And so he's working with those companies to do that. It's a big need, guys. I mean, people are getting really creative now, and it's exciting to see all the collaborations and the partnerships coming together where, in the past, maybe we've been a little more competitive with each other, but how can we really collaborate? And some of the unique ideas that Jason has brings a lot of people into collaboration.
Jason, are you able to get your mic to work? Maybe we control the mics. Would that work better if we just control the mics?
Yeah, that's what I've done. I've got unmuted different people, ones that we'd kind of talked about that had come on. But for some reason, he is not. He's not coming through. So sometimes you never know with
well, maybe we can come back to Jason. But Heath, you pointed out some of the things that are changing, right? Laws and things that are changing. And actually, as I look into the chat, Kevin, who is on this call, Kevin Doe used to be the in-house engineer for Titan until they closed up shop. And one of the things that Kevin identified in the chat was how do some of the policies in place and how are they going to change the industry, which, I think that may be the elephant in the room, right? If we have rebates right now that are helping things, reducing the cost per watt on these systems, what changes are going to happen if those rebates go away? And what if we have, politicians who necessarily aren't supportive of green technology or green energy, right? So I don't know what the answer is to that, but that would be a great discussion if anybody wants to interject a little bit on that. So if you want to give us some of your insight on that, to raise your hand. Is that
Blake?
Blake, yeah. Go ahead, Blake. Can you unmute yourself, or do we need to do it?
Yep.
Good.
I'm all good. Yeah, I mean, one thing I think, to Kevin's statement there of how do we convince politicians, against the industry, just looking at how we get any new generation going, well, it takes forever if you're looking at anything outside of a gas power plant or solar. I think we're one of the easier means of adding generation to the grid, which is going to solely need it. And that's one big driver I think we need to kind of push on. Gas power plants, keep putting those on are just going to add our reliance on gas and then increase the general cost to the public. So that can't be the only sole answer to it. So I think, pushing on at least that fact should hopefully help some of it, because it is a real issue. I mean, we can't turn on a nuclear power plant. Coal power plants are fleeting for obvious reasons. So I think, it's one driver that definitely could be pushed on heavier from my perspective.
No, that's good point. I like it. Glenn, did you have some other insight there?
Yeah, I did. A couple of years ago, I live in Florida, and we had a net metering battle with FPNL, and the trade organization and the solar community there came together, and they really made a strong conservative argument for solar jobs, jobs, and independence, right? So I think we need to do a better job of framing it, not just as a green industry, but uh, a financial one that makes sense. So just 2 cents there.
Yeah, no, good point. Catherine, did you have something you wanted to identify?
Well, we were talking about if the, government incentives changed. And I remember going through that in California. There was originally a rebate program back in the day, and that rebate program was set to slowly go lower. You got a less per watt as they gave out the money. And eventually the money ran out and the industry didn't even skip a beat. The pricing had come down on solar panels. We had gotten a lot of industry efficiencies going on. A lot of the equipment, including like racking and everything, had changed so much that we were so much more efficient in our installs. We didn't need the rebate money to make the systems pay for themselves. So I think the same thing could happen in the industry. If we did have big changes like that, we've gotten the price per watt on installation down so low compared to what it used to be, 10 or even 5 years ago. I think the industry as a whole could weather it.
That's good insight. Does everybody agree on that? I'm sure there's different opinions there. Let's see, James. I don't have your last name, so just go ahead and unmute yourself. Yeah, James Mark. How are you? Where are you from, James? Mm-hmm. James Moore. Okay. Can you unmute yourself, James?
You should have access, my friend.
Let's see.
Try it now, James. See if you can come through.
Why don't we go over to Casey Smith from SolarStrap? Can you unmute yourself, Casey? And then we'll come back to James.
Hey guys.
Okay, you should be good. Hey Casey, how are you?
Hey, great. Thanks for having me on. As Catherine was mentioning to this point, I've been in the C&I industry for quite some time, and definitely the policies and stuff have changed over the years. But what I see as rebates and all that kind of stuff typically go away. There's a lot more tax breaks for companies, so they're more cash flush, if you want to call it that. Bringing in more cash with the company, and they have to do something with it. So what I see changing is a shift from investor-owned systems or IPPs, PPAs, into cash and customer-owned systems. But with that said, the industry as a whole is definitely growing in the C&I, and I do see a lot of potential for growth in that.
That's great. Casey, tell us where you're from. Give your company a little plug there.
Yeah, so my little plug, I'm with SolarStrap. So I've been running SolarStrap since 2018 as a company, standalone company. Just real quick on those partnerships and consolidations in the C&I, it has definitely happened a lot. We actually fell victim to that. We partnered with a large IPP provider for quite some time. And as of January 1, we are, again, a standalone. Just because that partnership doesn't work out too well in the C&I industry. And it all goes back to that customer service, right? So when you're consolidating all these companies and trying to create this huge conglomerate, the customer service really drops off. And we saw that happening with our company as well. And when you're in the rooftop racking industry, it's all about having those personal relationships with your customers. And that end customer really wants to see that personal relationship as well. So going back to our company, SolarStrap, we are offering the lightest weight racking on the market, and we are currently the only racking with the ICC number issued to us. And that kind of allows us to get into these really big commercial flat roof projects to whereas we hold the world record, a 16.4 megawatt install on a single interconnect in the Port of San
Wow.
Pedro. And we get into a lot of government buildings and a lot of unique setups is what we really do.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that insight. And yeah, we've worked with Casey several projects, and great guy to work with. Recommend him. Let's see, who was trying to get in? It was, yeah, who was trying to get in earlier? Were you able to, James Moore, give you plugs? Are you able to unmute yourself now?
It looks like Jason Buck can unmute himself now.
Yeah, you should be good, Jason.
All right. Hey, Jason, welcome. Are you able to unmute yourself? We'd love to hear a little bit of your insight on the move to commercial. No? All right. Let us know when you can get in, Jason. Just shout out so we know when you got your mic unmuted. I also want to know which receiver you've knocked down the hardest and made him get a concussion. I'd also like to know that as well too. So when your mic is open, let us know. All right. Let's see. So I've been making some notes, and it sounded like across the board, customer service is by far the most important thing that makes us successful. And based on what we heard from Green Tech, being good at what we do and continuing to do it right and migrating into the industry as you need to is also important as well too, right? So great insight.
And also, I'd just like to invite those, that are manufacturers and have their own companies that can assist EPCs. Go ahead and throw your email in the chat, because I would say the biggest thing for me is collaboration. Collaborating with Whistling Consulting when I was a customer was one of the biggest moves that I made. So it's collaborating with those that have the quality, that have the integrity, and want to do things right, just as we talked about in customer service.
Yeah, for sure.
And connecting each other here is important.
I'd like to get some insight from you guys about the finance companies and where they're landing at this point. I tried my hardest to get at least one or two representatives from some of the most popular finance companies, like GoodLeap and Solnova, but wasn't really successful. I know that there have been big issues, and some of the customers that we've had actually who have gone out of business, it's really because really because of the changes that we've made with dealer fees and interest rate and requirements. Solnova has been great in the industry, but several of our customers have seen so many changes with Solnova's requirements that they've actually started moving away from Solnova. So I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing, and if this is part of the changes in the industry that we're going to need to deal with moving forward, and how that will shake out at some point. Are there going to be consolidations on finance partners? Are we going to start doing our own financing? Some of you on this call, I think, are doing your own financing, but it'd be interesting to see what your guys' thoughts are. Are we having technical difficulties here?
No, James Moore, I think you can unmute yourself now. I've been playing around. Let's see if I can let you in. Yeah, it's Microsoft likes some people and not others, right?
Yeah, raise your hand and we'll try and get you in.
I know, Casey, I don't know if you still had your hand raised. If you had anything else?
No, I just forgot to put it down. I'm actually at Intersolar right now, walking around.
Yeah.
Oh,
we were there yesterday. Yep.
Actually, that's another topic. I mean, if no one wants to really chat about finance companies, which I don't blame you, to be honest with you, but what do you think about the shows, and what are some of the good shows that we would look to want to attend? We've got, some of them, I don't know which are the best ones to go to. We exhibit right now at SolarCon, and we exhibit at RE Plus, right? And those are the two that we really exhibit at. But there's RE Plus in New England, right? That's in the north, that I think just was last month. There's Intersolar, which is going on right now. There's a whole host and there's a whole host of these webinar or these conferences that I'm kind of curious to see what your guys' thoughts on them. Are they productive? Should we exhibit at them? Should we not exhibit at it? And it looks like William.
Yeah, can you hear me here?
Yeah, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Conme?
Conme, yeah, and I'm a sales
Conme.
guy, so it's not a good pronunciation there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's perfect.
Okay.
Can't make that up.
yeah. So I'm actually with Chin Power Systems as well. I work with Luke a lot, and I'm based in Boston, so I was actually at RE Plus Northeast. One thing I have to say about the regional shows, I think it's not worth traveling super far. You've probably seen Chin at a lot of shows. We send a big crew a lot of places. This year, we're focused at keeping our regional people in their regions because for me to go to Intersolar and to go across the country to these shows, you're not really talking to the right people as a manufacturer because you want to talk to the developers in your region. So from my vantage point here, as someone who we do go to a lot of shows, keep the regional people regional, and then those big ones are where we send the house. And like that RE Plus Anaheim, we have a big team at Intersolar on the West Coast. But to make those personal connections that are actually going to move your business, RE Plus Northeast was great for me because it was my direct area. So that's something I've seen with the shows.
So you think it's best when we're looking at regional, where we're working the most in regions, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I think we, like last year we did I was over in some shows in California and Texas, and leaving those shows, you never really feel like you got much done because you're talking to somebody that's on the other side of the country. I know a lot of stuff's remote now, but I would say definitely focus your marketing budget there where you're going to be working, because yeah, you're going to lose some of those connections. And I think I've met you guys at the show before too, quickly. So
Nice. How about anybody else have some insight? I think that's good insight. And, the problem is, though, you have a lot of people on this call work throughout the entire nation, right? Like we're licensed in all 50 states. So for us, maybe we need to do those. But the thing is, you could spend the entire year going to conferences, or literally almost every month. Anyway, Blake, do you have some insight on this topic?
Sure, but I think Casey may have beat me too if you had what I cut in line.
Okay. Go ahead, Casey.
You
Sorry.
can go ahead, Blake.
All right. Yeah. I mean, as I kind of alluded to, I the regional shows are good, but also you got to look at what the weather and timing to get there, as William was pointing out. Though having said that, I over the past year I've been attending more and more of the regional focused ones, and it seems that almost all of them have been growing in size at a pretty crazy rate. So it's tough to say, but I'd say definitely measure your time to get there and understanding what outside forces may impact them.
Yeah, agreed.
Perfect.
And
Looks
Blake,
like
did you want to add to that?
You mean Casey?
You're good. We can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So kind of following around what you were saying earlier, Scott, it's kind of following your business. So over at Solar Strap, we typically don't do too many regional shows because we do work with mostly large investor-based companies. And whereas we're spec'd in early on the projects by the investors or the building owners. But what's changing up this year is I'm looking at quite a bit more regional shows, trying to hit that Northeast, trying to hit that Southeast, and the Texas market. Those are what I'm really following on the commercial. The C&I side is really exploding. And one thing that was unique for this year for the solar industry, at least for me, is I actually attended the International Roofing Expo down in Texas, San Antonio. And I see that as a way in for a lot of projects, right? Because when you're in the C&I, you need a roofer to complete this project. And who's at these shows is all the roofers, all the manufacturers of the roofers, and the people who know where the brand new roofs are out there, and they know where solar can go on the easiest. So that is something that's on my list for next year, is attending that International Roofing Expo and having quite a sizable booth there.
That's interesting. I haven't even heard of that, but you know what? If you guys are or have some that you think are valuable, some conferences that are valuable to go to, drop them into the chat so that everybody else can see them. It looks like that, Jason, you're unmuted, right? Are you
Yes, can
there?
you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Loud
hear
and clear,
you.
brother.
Sorry for all that confusion, but it's great to have you on. And I guess back to the discussion about, you know, what prompted you to move in a commercial land and seeing a switch from residential to commercial. Obviously, there's some merit in that for you to do what you're doing now in the industry.
You know, just as we learned and grew up in my background, you know, in just construction, ranching, farming, you know, the mechanical world. And I think we just
Tackling
naturally went
people.
that direction with some needs and some strategic alliances we had. And see that for us as a better, you know, opportunity to make revenue. We still might participate in residential a little bit, but you know, speaking with some of our clients and their needs, especially in, you know, the smaller space, if it's the, you know, quick food restaurants and that type of thing, you know, we ran into that issue of not enough space for solar, or enough solar to really give them a good total solution. And so, you know, we found combining in different designs, the solar with, you know, the good or either and other renewable energies if it's available at that site with you know, the gen sets, and then also, you know, combine cycle gas turbines, the more clean technology. And so we like doing that, layering all that together, you know, based on the site. But we really concentrate on 50 kW to 2 megawatts and stay in that mini grid, small microgrid area. You know, we can go above that, but you know, definitely not above 4 or 5 megawatts. You know, we just keep it down in that smaller area. But we find there's a need with that. It's like you're talking today, just the change in the regulations, you know, as far as the incentives and tax incentives and everything, that really slowed that down and made the gen sets combination and battery storage more attractive. So we're just flexible. I mean, the best way to put it.
Yeah, and actually, when you start talking about moving towards batteries and having that part of, you know, the overall offering, you know, we've seen, and Catherine talked about changes in California, but we know that, you know, the no net metering that went through in California certainly changed the industry for solar in California, where now battery storage became, you know, prevalent. And we've seen that actually just happened in Illinois. And I'm not sure what other states are going to join with doing similar things. I mean, we're still installing solar, but now it's just changed the market a little bit. Like our cheese has gotten moved, you know? Yeah. So.
Right. There's no more buggy whip makers. So you got to be flexible.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm seeing a lot of.
Go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to say, I'm seeing a lot of chat going on between, you know, EPCs and stuff. And I encourage you guys to drop each other your guys' information, your phone numbers. What we're seeing, like James over, you know, with EV Plugs, he does strictly EV on commercial and a little bit on residential. But as you guys collaborate together, you know, we have our niche, you guys have your niches. So what can we do to really connect with each other and create a community that supports each other so that we can, you know, stay alive in this business? So,
we probably have time for a couple more topics, and I'd like to see what maybe some of you guys have, right? You know, I could throw out a couple more topics that I've kind of written down and made some notes, but again, this is really for you guys to kind of, you know, ask some questions of the people on this call. They're a lot smarter than I am who people are on this call. So, you know, if you have a question, you know, ask it. Let's see. So Luke, did you have a question? Are you able to unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, I have a question. One of our big innovations nowadays is moving towards skidded string to get into those larger megawatt projects. I kind of like to get a feel of the room what are kind of your ideas, the pros and cons between those skidded string systems between a central inverter?
Just nobody has any thoughts.
I was like, how many commercial people do we have on versus residential?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know,
So-
Catherine, what are your thoughts there,
Yeah, I was going
Greg?
to say between Catherine here, we can feel that question. A lot of it has to do with voltage drop and system size. So if you're going to get it to the point of a central skid, like a quarter of a mile from the end of the array, that's going to be a little bit more cost effective in the output side than it would if you had a bunch of scattered inverters sprinkled around the entire property, and then you're doing AC output to a central combiner panel. Catherine, your thoughts on that?
My thoughts go to kind of a reliability thing. One skidded inverter goes down, the whole thing's out. If you have a lot of smaller inverters, you have one down, it's not such a panic situation, because it's only a small portion of the system that's down.
I don't know if that
Thank you,
helps.
guys.
Does that help, Luke?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I also just wanted to drop my email. I'll put it in the chat box as well, but not for the consulting engineering work, but more on the CPS end. If you ever need some engineering support, I'll drop my email below.
Sounds good. Thank you. Daniel Mungle, he works for IE Construction and has been working with us for a while. I didn't script having to call you out, Daniel, and if you have a minute, tell us a little bit what you see in the industry as it relates to commercial and what you do. You do mostly commercial, I understand, and you were a little bit affiliated with Infinity, but got out when the time was right. So, Daniel, are you able to unmute yourself? Do you want to give us a little bit of your insight? Or did you actually, looks like he dropped off. I thought he was still on, but it looks like he dropped off.
And guys, and if you do the same service as us, we have design companies that work with us. If you wouldn't mind just not putting your information in the chat, some of it that's a little more direct competition. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. The other thing that I learned, it took me longer than most because I'm probably a little more stubborn than most, right? I think Ben and Catherine and Greg will probably agree with that is, we need to be competitive in what we do. And a lot of times, being the big fish in the pond doesn't mean that you get a pass, right? So we had to really look at where we were and what we were doing and make some changes to what we did. Number one, we did offer doing design services so that we could be more competitive in the industry and probably, try to do full service, right? Between designs, commercial and residential, which has been fairly successful for us. But the ability to move in the industry, be aware of the industry, and be competitive in industry is super critical to be successful, right? And I don't know where we would be had we not took a serious look at where the industry was leading. Most of you who are customers of mine on this call are aware that we've kind of went through and modified pricing to be more competitive in the industry and even willing to work with people, right? I have always been part of I've always been firm on partnerships and being loyal to our customer base, and that has always been a main theme of mine. And I think that we all need to do that. Common theme was really customer service and being able to, I guess, follow the cheese, if you will, based on the book, Who Moved My Cheese, right? To make sure you're following the cheese and being aware of the changes in the cheese when it's changing, right? I think we're just about out of time. We have a minute or two for anybody who might want to add some parting thoughts here. But I am super grateful for what you guys contribute into this industry and that you're still here, right? That's impressive that you guys have made it to where you are now. I wish really everybody the best of luck. I am super grateful for what we've done in the industry. And if you had told me 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when it was just myself starting out doing engineering, some of you on this call, like Brian Rowlands, knew me before we even went out on our own, right? Before I even went out on my own. If the industry would be where it is now, I'd be like, I would not agree. I would say there's no way it's going to be like that. But the thing is, no one can look in their crystal ball and see where the industry is going to be, but we need to roll with the punches, and we need to be able to be competitive in the market, and we need to be able to willing to change and follow the cheese. If I had to say, the success is related to the people that we have working for us, right? The people who are doing the day in and day out work of what we do, and their relationships with you as our customers and the people in the industry is what makes companies successful. And I don't disagree, and I still stand by that. I have the best employees in the industry. I think we provide the best resources between engineering, between structural and electrical, and I'd like to see someone dispute that. But anyway, thanks, guys. And be honest with you, someone talked about looking in the rearview mirror. I would love to look in the rearview mirror and have 2022 come back if we could, but it's not coming back.
Just with quality, right?
The sooner we realize that, the better off everybody will be. So anyway, well, thanks so much, guys, for attending, and appreciate your efforts again. And Ben, I'll turn the time back over to you. Parting thoughts or to wrap things up.
Honestly, guys, gratitude, immense gratitude for putting your trust in us at Whistling Consulting. And like I said, I was a customer. I know what it's like to be on your side, and we just appreciate you guys, and we do everything we can to provide the service that you guys require. So thank you very much. You guys have a beautiful rest of your week. Take care.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
See you now that my mic works.
Thanks, Jason.
You guys had me locked out, so it was just like I had this screen where I'm listening to everything, but I had zero controls of anything.
I was trying my best, man. It's just, I don't know if it's leaving, or sometimes Microsoft.
I was trying to answer you, and I'm like,
we need to
so I went
make
all
sure
the
we
way
get
out
that
and came
resolved.
back in.
We need to get that resolved for future webinars. Yeah.
It's just, sometimes it just depends on Microsoft. It can be great, and then the next day it's
right on the Teams. Yeah, no, but
yeah.
I got on, so we got a little bit in there.
Well, thanks, Jason.
Hey,
appreciate
thanks
your
for letting
effort.
me know about it. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for chiming in.
Okay.
Thanks, Christina. Thanks, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Jordan.
See ya.
Bye.